When you think of colonial empires, if you ever do, first countries that come to mind are Great Britain and France, but we tend to forget about this little East European nation that not only conquered most of Asia, but still owns it. Russia has a serious colonial background and is pretty much a colonial empire to this day. Now listen to my accent carefully and try to figure out where I'm from. Okay, I'll have to talk for you to listen, but I know that I look Chinese on the outside, but I sound Russian because I was born and raised there. I am Asian Russian. And Asian Russians know exactly that colonialism is well and alive there. But who the hell are Asian Russians anyways? 28 millions of Russians are not Russians, in fact. They are ethnic minorities, peoples of Caucasus, peoples of Altai, peoples of Siberia. By the way, Siberia is a part of Russia, if you didn't know about it. 77% of Russian land is in Siberia. And what they all want us to believe in is that it was a peaceful expansion. Unlike countries like the US and Australia that admitted the genocide of native people, Russia still claims that it was us who wanted to be a part of them. It's already given colonialism, isn't it? No one would ever voluntarily give up their independence. You only do this if they make you do this. And you know exactly what I mean by that. Just like they used to do in the US, they are still portraying it like civilizing the barbarians, like bringing us the progress, the education, the religion. Because we were so dumb, living our own ways, worshipping our own gods, and leading a normal traditional lifestyle. And now let's see how ethnic minorities and like Asian Russians are treated in Russia nowadays. Even just by looking at the comments under my other videos, you can tell a lot. Russians let all the minorities flourish, like a master who gives its slaves a little money and a little education. That's what letting someone flourish is. Or people saying it's not as bad as other native people had it, so just shut up. Or people are just denying it altogether. Okay, while having our history denied is not the worst colonial thing ever, we're not done here, okay? We're gonna learn a lot more. If you look at the Russian map right now, you see ethnic republics named after native people, like Buryatia, where Buryati live, Tatarstan for Tatar, and Chechnya for Chechen people. You would think that having our own republics would empower us, would make us more visible and equal to all other Russians, but it didn't. So when I started exploring the topic of racism, I asked my IG followers to share their experience with racism. But before we jump into my DMs, let me share a little reel that I saw on Instagram the other day. It's a Buryat woman fighting with Slavic Russians in her own building because these people were openly racist to her.
Вам не стыдно, женщина, вы взрослая? Вы в моей стране, в моем подъезде говорите?
В вашей стране я?
Девушка, не
Вы
обращайте
ничего
внимания.
тут не перепутали?
Я родилась в Республике Бурятия.
And here's what I gathered from my DMs. This is a friend of mine, and she was in a public transport. Well, she was approached by a Slavic man who said, "Why do we have Chinese here? This country for Russians only." This woman is a doctor. One of her patients wanted to have another doctor, a Russian man doctor. The funny thing is that she came back to a friend of mine because she probably realized that white doctor doesn't mean a better doctor. What a 19th century insight to have. This is another story from the same woman when not only her patients were racist, but also her co-workers, doctors who are educated people, were super racist to her. They were like, "Your name is too complicated. We can't learn it. We're just gonna call you whatever we want." These motherfuckers. She just asked you to learn one word, not the whole new language. Not the whole paragraphs of text, just one word, which is a name of your co-worker, you bastard. Now I'm gonna let you decide if we have racism or not. And if Russians treat minorities good, they don't. And by the way, it's pretty universal, right? Across the globe. Russians love us when we're Olympic champions. But when we win Miss St. Petersburg, we get death threats. We're being bullied and getting death threats. Just like when it's Pogba and Mbappe, they are the most famous French soccer players. But when there is a crime, it's not a French person who did it. It's a person of Muslim and immigrant background. You're probably aware that Russia has some special operation going on, and there are thousands of people dying in the war right now. And while the war is probably one of the worst things that can happen, native people of Russia are having it even worse than other Russians, because they're being drafted more often than Slavic Russians. What you see on this chart is a ratio of men who died in the war to every 10,000 of adult men by region as of December 7th this year. Since in Russia we have ethnic republics, this is a good representation of how many native people died in Ukraine. If you look at the first three regions, they all are ethnic regions: Tuva, Buryatia, and Nenets Oblast, with Tuvans having 50 men dying per 10k and Moscow having 2. I don't want to unpack it any further, and I will let you be a judge of the dynamic here. Like, the war is a super sensitive topic, not only for all Russians, but for ethnic minorities specifically. Because I personally always hear like my friends' husbands being drafted, or like my cousin's high school friend being killed over there. Outside of these signs of colonialism, we also have some classic perks of colonial empires, like our native languages going away, people forced to abandon their own religions and becoming Christians, Western Russia making money on Siberian resources like diamonds, gas, and oil. I have a couple more videos about Siberia, so check them out if you want. If not, I have a ton of other content you can enjoy. Thanks for watching.